This is good.
Yes,
Okay. Should we bring the camera down or does
that's
it look
good.
like? Okay.
Good evening. How are you? Welcome to Community Cuts. We have a beautiful rising star right here. Her name is Blitz, Journey to Blitz. And our show is about women. Am I correct, Blitz?
Yeah.
Tell us about the show.
It's Bliss. B-I.
Blitz.
Bliss.
Bliss.
S-S.
Bliss.
Bliss.
Excuse me. Excuse me. Talk to us.
Yeah. So this evening we wanted to talk about women and their ability to change their looks. And how it's actually a wonderful thing to be able to do that. How many people, many women in other cultures lack that dynamic. They lack that spice. They lack that ability to be, or that control to be able to constantly change their look. And how we here in America have that ability.
That's correct. Sometimes we see these women, they put on the wigs and they put on a blonde hair wig, and that's their ability to change their looks. There's nothing wrong with that. I just, I'm in tune with the afro. I love the afro. I love when your afro's out, and it's all good to me. Yeah.
Well, see, for me, if I see a woman that looks like me, and whether she has a blonde wig, a purple wig, an afro, a straight curly wig, I'm intrigued by that because I'm looking at her as a package. So if she's well put together and if she's rocking whatever hair, orange hair, purple hair, I'm okay with that. Because if I don't know this woman, I don't know why she's wearing a wig. For all I know, she could be experiencing cancer. It could be some other medical condition that she could be dealing with, and she may not be at will to express that to me, that dynamic. So I don't judge a woman by the way she looks on the outside, especially when it comes to her locks, her hair. I wait to get to know her and I feel her energy. And if her energy resonates with me and I'm rocking with her, I take the time to get to know her. And from then, I will know if she's changing her looks based on some type of insecurity within her, or if she's changing her looks because she simply likes to change the way that she looks. Or maybe she's changing her look because she likes to role play. I don't judge based on what I see on the outside.
So again, you believe there's nothing wrong with changing the looks of a woman, and sometimes women dress to please men. They wear skimpy clothing, right? Uh, is it about pleasing a man, or just want to be, you know, pleasing other women? How you look and yourself, who you are as a person. It's who you are as an individual that you're doing this, and it should be doing it for who you are, that person's character.
Mhm.
Correct.
Well, it depends on the woman. There are women out here, uh, and I could speak for American women because this is where I live. There are American women who dress for men to look at them and observe them, but they don't want the comments. And they may not even necessarily want you to look at them. So it's a little bit of a twisted dynamic there. However, there are women who dress for other women. And these type of women are competing. They're competitive and they want to say, look at me, I'm a peacock and I'm flourishing and I'm this and I'm that. So until you get to know the woman, you don't necessarily know what's going on with her. You don't necessarily understand her thoughts and her journey, with why she's dressing the way that she's dressing. And at times, for me, I admire women who have the ability to one day dress corporate and look classy. And then the next day, she might look that other word that rhymes with classy but begins with A. And it's okay, in my personal opinion, to change your look on a regular basis. At this point, to me, in my personal opinion, that's all we have right now. A lot of women right now, they don't have any control over their relationships. They don't have any control over their finances. They don't have any control over their children. But guess what? They got control over the way that they want to look when they walk out that house. And if they want to have a long hair one day, short hair the next day, red lipstick another day, black lipstick another day, tight outfit with leather on another day, and a corporate suit on a different day. That's the only thing that they have control over at this point, that they can constantly change to be in the mood that they feel like looking.
So when a man sees a woman, she has her cheek showing at the same time, and she may have her breast out at the same time, somewhat. And he approaches her, but she rudely will say, "Get away from me." Is that right? When you're dressed a certain way and you attract a certain amount of energy that's coming to you, is that the way it should be, or should it be, "Look, I look this way, and thank you for noticing me," or just be rude about it?
Well, I genuinely don't think it's a good idea for anyone to be rude, whether it's a man or a woman. Um, if a man wants to compliment a woman on her looks, then genuinely she should be able to accept that compliment. However, there are women who dress specifically in the way that you mentioned, cheeks hanging out, breasts busting up and out for attention. And so they may attract all different types of energies towards them,
Correct.
good, bad, low vibrational, maybe even some high vibrational men, women. And so what happens is that you attract energies that you're not necessarily looking for, and you're unaware of this. You're unconsciously attracting all these varieties of energies that you're not ready to receive. And so the response may be, bam, what are you looking at? Why are you talking to me this way? And
But
you
but
know,
but but why? When
mm-hmm,
you're portraying yourself in a certain light,
mm-hmm,
and people are gravitating towards that light,
mm-hmm,
the way you dress, the way you carry
mm-hmm.
yourself. So we get kind of confused.
Yeah, men get
Men
confused.
get confused.
Yeah.
You dress a certain way to, I gather, to show men, look at me.
Mm-hmm,
I'm on. I got it. I'm a light bulb.
mm-hmm,
But then when they talk to you or talk to that woman, then they get put in a place where they don't want to be.
mm-hmm,
So it's a trick bag. We guys are trying to figure it out.
mm-hmm.
You know,
But I think also it has to do with the way you look at the women when they're dressed this way, and the way you communicate to them, the way you compliment them. So if you're looking at these women with lust in your eyes, and you're complimenting these women specifically about that particular body part,
right?
um, then yeah, she may be offended because maybe she didn't mean to attract you. Maybe she meant to attract the other brother down the block, because women, we think differently. So a woman can get dressed up with the intentions of going outside to attract that one
But
man.
how are we supposed to know it?
You're not going to know it.
We're not going to know it.
No, you're not going to know it.
So do not treat us like we're nobodies. If you don't want to hear any compliments or what have you, don't do that. Don't do that.
But women can get compliments whether they dress like that or not.
That's true.
I'm not half dressed today, and I got compliments today. I wasn't half dressed. As a matter of fact, I was more covered up yesterday than I am today, and I got compliments, and I got looks and stares yesterday. So it depends on the woman that you're looking at, her energy, and is she in the position to receive your gratitude for the eye beauty that she's presenting to you, because it's beautiful to see a woman walking out there with her cheeks
It is.
hanging
It is.
around her breast.
It
This
is.
is
It
this
is.
this people call it eye candy, but
That's what
it's
they call it.
actually easy on the eyes, and it is beautiful. And it doesn't matter if the woman is skinny or fat or whatever, because different people are attracted to different beings, different shapes, different colors, and different
Correct.
sizes.
Correct.
But Again, we go back to the energy of the woman that you're complimenting. She may not be in the energy to be able to receive what you're about to provide to her, which is just a verbal compliment, or maybe even just the energy of you admiring the way that she looks. She may be like uncomfortable because she accidentally attracted you when she really was trying to catch the brother at the barbershop.
Well, I tell you, I don't know. I don't know because you dress a certain way, and there's a lot of brothers out here, and they're gonna look.
Hmm.
All we want to do is make sure that we are respectable and
Hmm.
not really engage in any kind of crazy language that's not needed.
Hmm.
And I think everybody should be treated, equally. I'm
Hmm.
sure that you are a beautiful woman yourself,
Thank you.
and I know that people do have look at you a certain way. So yeah, just as long as brothers are being treated a certain way,
Hmm.
I think that's it. That's important
Hmm.
because once you're rocking, we have to rock with you,
Hmm.
and we're going to tell you, hey, you look beautiful. I like your hat. I like
Hmm.
your clothing. I like your, everything that you have. It's
Hmm.
just beautiful. So yeah, we will tell you that. But once it gets crazy or it gets like, we don't know you, it's not good. Because
But I honestly have to say that the women in the city are different energy than the women when you go out into like the suburbs or the further south. Those women in the city are more like, just in general, I don't know you, why are you communicating to me?
right, right,
This
correct.
is the city mentality, this is the city attitude. These women are genuinely more
That's true.
tougher,
That's true.
and more I guess vocal, with what it is that they want to say. I
Right.
find that when I'm traveling on the outer skirts of the city in the suburbs, or especially when I travel further south, these women are more receptive to compliments. They're more receptive to a brother opening up the door for them. They're more receptive to a brother, oh, can I help you carry your bags? Or, could I buy you a drink? They're more open to receiving the energy of a brother who's showing love that may not always be sexually intended. It could be something where I'm just enjoying you right now. I like the way you look. I like the conversation. I'm enjoying your energy. You're vibrating high. And you know what? I just want to open up the door for you. And I find that the further south you go, the more these women are more likely to accept that and just acknowledge it, and just they're more, they can be a little bit more calming, um, and gentler in receiving this sometimes. So a lot of times in the cities is the hustle and the bustle and the moving, and you can't trust anyone, and there's too much
Right. Right.
manipulation, it's too much lying and cheating and stealing, and these women are more on their guard,
Got you.
and they're more like, I wear what I want to wear because I want to wear it because I feel like it, kind of attitude.
Right.
It's more of an
Right.
attitude attached to it when you're dealing with women in the city. So you have to be prepared for that. And what I would suggest is that you read the sister before you say anything to her. Just do a little, reading on her and see what her energy is like prior to you saying anything to her, before she,
Right.
curse
Right.
you out or
And
something.
that's true too, because you go different places and there's different energies there. People, the if you go to another country, it will be different.
Oh yeah. Traveling to other countries, depending on what country you're in, you can't just walk up to a woman and talk to her.
Right.
You have countries where uh, the women's family will not allow you to communicate to her. I don't care what you plan on saying to her. You cannot approach her just like that. And then you have some countries where you would approach maybe the father or the oldest brother in the family prior to you communicating with this woman. And this is because you find in other cultures and other countries, they protect their women. So here in America, a lot of women don't feel protected. And so they get into a certain level.
Let's stop right there for a
Oh,
minute. Why
okay.
certain women do not feel protected? Let's get into that
I
for a second.
Yeah, I think this has to do with from childhood. Maybe there was an experience from childhood where they did not feel protected, or it could be something as far as going into the womb where they witnessed something from within the mother while they was in the womb that caused them to be traumatized, and the mother was not protected, and what she can do is transfer that energy to the baby in her stomach. And in addition to that, maybe the mother was dressing like that while she was pregnant, while the child was observed, the little girl was observing her. The mother's walking around. You'll find a lot of times when the mother's like that, the daughters like that. And this is why I say I don't judge women when I see them dressed a certain way. I actually admire them when they put together well, but I take the time to get to know them and their energy and the family that they're coming from. And if I see the mothers traumatized and carrying this on to her daughter, it helps me to get more of her understanding and understanding as to where this is coming from with this young lady.
Okay, that's pretty interesting and deep at the same time.
Hmm.
And everything is in the DNA. It's transferred to the DNA.
Yes.
Sometimes it takes a long time to tap into that DNA
Yes.
and recognizing it and understanding it.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And you have a lot of young ladies who are growing up without their fathers. I mean, let's be honest and let's be realistic about the situation here in America. There are a lot of women who are growing up without their fathers. And in this instance, if you do not have that father figure in your life, you're going to grow up differently than a child who grew up with their mother and their father in that household. It's just the same as if you were a child who grew up with only the father in the household and the mother wasn't there. Like you have three separate dynamics there where the child is going to be completely different. And that's not even including the neighborhood the child grew up in,
Mm.
and whether the grandparents were there, whether there was any brothers and sisters there, any cousins, and all of that plays in the dynamics of why we are the way that we are.
Mm.
And you have a child, let's say, for example, growing up in a very poor neighborhood, and everyone in the neighborhood, all the women are low cut blouses, shorts with the booty hanging out. And that child may be like, you know what? When in Rome, do like the
Exactly.
Romans.
It's a
And
culture.
and because she may have never left that town or that neighborhood,
Mhm.
or maybe she never got a corporate job. She's never been exposed to anything else. How would you expect her to know? Maybe she might venture out and read a book or see a story and be exposed to something and say, "Oh, wait a minute, there's other options here." It's kind of the same dynamic when you have a young girl who just wants to date a guy who's a thug, who's a hood guy, who's a cheater, a liar, a manipulator. And maybe she thinks this is the only options that I have. Maybe that's what her mama had.
Yeah, it's part of the culture because once you come out of a certain culture, you think everything is the same way, and you're manipulated into that culture.
Mhm.
How do we change this culture? I'm not asking you, but I'm saying, how do we change this culture for our community to get them past these tropes, these addictions, these the way they paint these communities? The culture is very important to a community. And if you tell a community that, okay, you're stupid, you're dumb, or you're not worth anything, then at the end of the day, they'll believe that they're not. When we do know that they are important to us, it's a culture that we're in.
Hmm. I guess the question would be for me personally, what is the Black culture right now? I mean, do we even have a culture to attach ourselves to? Or is it the hip hop culture? Like people are talking right now of this hip hop culture.
Right.
What exactly is a hip hop culture? We're talking people who are producing songs, music about killing, weapons, money, jury, and women who are bees, the word bitch,
Right.
you know, men who are no good, who are loose, who are out here having babies by multiple women, and Some of them are taking care of the babies, and some of them are not. Women who are raising these babies by themselves, is that what our culture is? Because I don't see that in other cultures. So why are they attaching us to this type of culture, which is actually a type of music?
Correct. Yeah.
Because we have black people who don't even listen to rap or R&B or hip hop. We have black people out here who do not even embrace this culture. So media, in my personal opinion, attaches this type of culture to us and this type of mentality to us. And to be honest with you, more than half of us don't even entertain this.
That is true. That is true. I think it's a we have to fight to create our own cultures. We are creators. That's what I believe in, and sometimes we have to cut those strings and start creating our own culture, who we are as individuals, and we are loving people and allowing or hoping that and allowing our women to fall back in love with us and start to create new environments in our culture.
Mm. Well, it's funny you say that we are creators because, in my eyes, when you see a woman who changes her look like that, is she not being a creator?
She is being
Is
a
she
creator.
not being creative?
She is.
You see,
Yeah.
she's a multi-dimensional being in essence.
Correct.
So this is why I can embrace women who constantly change their look, constantly, because in my eyes, they're creators. They're actually talented in the game of changing their look
It's
because
true.
she can walk in here one day and next week she'll look a whole different way and you might not even recognize her. I mean, where did all this creativity come from? You see this in the theaters. How do they dress up all these people? How do they dress up all these models? Where did all these ideas come from? I think it's because we're naturally creative in that dynamic, in that aspect. And I think we should embrace it. And to me, changing her clothing, to me, that's part of also her creativity. You know,
Mm,
I do believe that at times, though, when women grow up in just one set, one culture,
yeah,
and they're not exposed to other dynamics, they become sort of I guess robotic.
that's true. That's true.
Robotic, and they're like robots and they're repeating what they saw from their mother, their cousin, their aunts, and all the other women in the culture. But when you have a woman who's exposed or a woman who's well traveled, she may say, hey, oh, I saw this scarf here and I saw these shorts here, and she may become more creative in her looks. And that's why I say I like to get to know them, and feel their energy prior to judging them based on what I see on the outside. Because I don't know what they've been through. For all I know, their mother could have been a prostitute.
That is true. I mean, at the same time, you're right with the culture, and that goes for men too, not just women.
How so?
We are creators as well of our culture, and sometimes we get you know fall into a culture that's not good and is not productive for our women.
Okay, so since you're a man and I've never been one, not
Okay.
in this lifetime,
All right.
so women, their creativity that they have the most control over is their look, right?
Okay.
Because as we discussed, they don't much of our women don't have control over our money, over our households, over our men and our relationships, over our jobs. But if one thing we can control, we can definitely control our look. So what is it that men that you see that they're creators and they have control over? Is you need to express this to me.
What they have control over?
And what is it that they're creative about?
Well, men have control over themselves. They are creators. They can create whatever they want to create as long as they believe in themselves. So if you are a engineer, if you are whatever you deem yourself to be,
Mhm.
You can start create if you are a creator in making sure that your family is taken care of, your spouse, your children, and you find creative ways to do that, right?
Mhm.
And you start operating in that culture, meaning that you'll have to change your culture within to make sure that you're financing your culture, which is your family, your wife, your children. So we have the ability to build. That's what we are. We are builders. We have the ability to do this. We may not change, our look, but we have the ability to build.
So you're talking about creativity from another level, from another dynamic,
Yeah.
from another dimension. So not every brother's like that. What about, so do you think, now I'm going to throw this little snowball at you.
Okay.
Do you think the average brother who's out here selling street pharmaceuticals, will use a proper phrase, do you think they're creative?
They are creative. They are creative uh, in destruction. Yes, they're creative in making money to bring home to
Hmm.
their spouse, to their children. Is it correct? No,
Hmm.
it's not good. May They may be suffering behind that from putting out that kind of let's say nonsense to our community and having people connected to that nonsense falling out behind that.
Hmm.
I believe that there is uh, karma behind that, right?
Hmm.
At the end of the day, we are creators. We can build our community. We can build, if two people come together, husband and wife, man and woman, we can create stuff. But it's to be, what's the word I'm looking for? To uh, to be real about it. Come together and say, this is what we're going to build. This is how we're
Hmm.
going to do it. And both energies, husband, wife, they come together and start building. There's nothing that we can't do because we did it already. It's not our first go around. We
Hmm.
did this before. Is now to do it again.
We would have to take that dynamic with men in that particular field, pharmaceutical, street pharmaceuticals. And a lot of that has to do with their surroundings, where they grew up, and whether they've been exposed to anything like opportunities where they can go to college, opportunities where they can build a business, opportunities where they can acquire
Exactly.
a certain type of job. But if you never leave um, that hood or that area or that neighborhood, and your family's in that business, and it's spiraling on and on and on, and you don't have that exposure.
If you don't have the opportunity, and what they do from third grade on, they measure what you know from what you don't know. This is how they build a prison system, right? They understand that if you are in the third grade, fourth grade, and they measure that what you know, they they realize that going down the line that you're going to end up in jail. You're going to end up in prison. You're going to end up not being a good productive person because a person don't have the education behind it or don't know. So what we've been sandbagged, meaning that the opportunities weren't given to us to allow us to learn. But if we're not sandbagged, that means that we can create. If I give everybody, doesn't matter what school you go to, computers, best, good teachers, then wherever the chips fall, they fall. But if I don't give that person that particular zip code, the right teachers or the right computers, then I know at the end of the day where that community is going. So it is not. It is. It is not right to not give everybody an opportunity, whether whomever you are. You should be given an opportunity to create.
Hmm. Ah. I beg to differ. I'm going to challenge you on this.
Please do.
I feel that we as a people should never rely on someone else to present an opportunity to us. We send our children to these schools that have not been built by us. We send our children to these schools where the curriculum was not designed by us. We, years ago in history, had our own schools, our own teachers, our own curriculums, our own food programs, our own businesses. And we did business amongst each other. And we had our children in our own schools. Some of them were homeschooled because they wouldn't allow us to partake in anything with other cultures. So now we're mixed up with all these different cultures and we're falling behind more and more and more. I feel like we should never allow any other culture or any other person who don't understand or understand where we're coming from as a people to teach our children. I feel like they would have the opportunity to mislead our children, to misguide our children, and put them in the wrong position at the wrong time. And so I'm not looking for a handout to take care of my children. And that's just my personal opinion.
Okay, I like that. Excuse me.
Mhm.
The first thing that we have to recognize is finance,
Mhm.
correct? If I don't have the finance to put food on the table, money in the pockets of my children and my wife and whomever lives in that household, it all comes through finance, right?
Mhm.
And so now I'm prey to whatever you give me, right? 'Cause I can't build something out of nothing. If you give me the opportunity to 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 give everybody an equal opportunity,
Mhm.
same computers, the same, good teachers, then you're giving me an opportunity to learn for myself. But if I don't have the again the finances to change my condition, and if I'm working 12 hours a day, coming home at night, dogly tired, I can't even spend time with my children. I can't even have a supper with them. Can't find out what their days were like
Mhm.
because I have to constantly work to put food on the table,
Mhm.
constantly work to make sure they have a roof over their table
Mhm.
because I didn't get the foundation that was needed for me to build. I can't build on a rocky foundation. So I think there has to be some equitable money that's uh, that's given to our community to start building. And the way I can siphon that or block that is not invest in you. When you have somebody that's going to invest in you, then you can do anything. That's the way I feel. I mean,
Mm. So you mentioned a man who's working long hours,
correct.
who lacks the ability to get home, to spend time with his family, and
Right.
who's got all these bills on the table. Maybe he's paying the rent, maybe he's paying a car note, and then he's got to buy food, and then he's got to buy toiletries, and
Correct.
cable, and all this other stuff.
Hmm.
Whose fault is that? To me,
Hmm.
it's his fault because
So,
he put himself in that position.
okay.
Maybe he don't need that car. Maybe he can get a cheaper apartment. Maybe he can have his wife or his girlfriend, whoever he's dealing with, pack that lunch up and save that money. And if he's working 12 hours a day, he has to take the time to say, okay, this is what I'm doing for now, but I'm going to build. This is temporary. So it shouldn't be a man working 12 hours a day for 20, 30 years. If he sees this is something that's detrimental, not only to his health, but to his relationship, because that
Right.
woman is going to be unhappy and that child is never going to see the father there to help raise the child. So he has to be intelligent enough to say, this is not a good idea on multiple levels. And then he has to be in the motive of taking action to say, we need to change this dynamic. And then not only that, most importantly, and this is the most important part here, he needs to be with the type of woman who will agree with moving forward and putting that family in a better position. Now, if she's toxic, we all know what the ending of that story is going to be.
Yeah.
But if they're moving in the same motion, they're in the same vibration, they're not, he's not going to be in that position for long. They're going to build and merge together as a family to put all three of them or four of them, however many children they have, in a better position. I mean, so it's up to the man to say, all right, this is not good for my family, because the woman is going to sit there
Right.
and she may not say anything because she may be like, this is what a man is supposed to do. He's supposed to work, 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 and do all these hours. And she may not know because maybe she didn't see it at home or didn't learn it from her family. But he has to have the masculine intelligence to say, okay, this is not good. And I need to put my family in a better position. And then he has to have the right woman prior to that to
Right.
already be said, babe, you're never home. I miss you.
Yeah.
And
Hey, look, I concur with that, what you're saying, but
mhm.
there's also other underlying
Mm.
layers, right? It doesn't, it's not a microwave. And so at the end of the day, when the man works all those hours, he, if it was me,
Mhm,
it would be, I'm preparing for the generational changes because
mhm,
I know it's not going to happen with me, and it may happen with my son or my daughter, their children. And we start now to make sure that there is a shift that's coming, right? That means I don't mind working 12 hours a day if I know that I'm preparing for my grandson or my
mhm,
granddaughter.
mhm,
But at the end of the day, if my grandson or my granddaughter received the same education that was poor of from the very genesis, that means that they're never going to get out of that. It becomes a revolving door
mhm,
because they didn't get the correct education. They didn't get the right math book, the computers, the right teachers that would teach them. My thing is that, give me the tools, right? And let me advise myself. Let
mhm,
me help myself.
mhm,
If you feed me, I may not be able to feed myself. But if I work and I feed, and if I work, I know how to work. I'm taught a trade. Then I'm able to feed myself.
mhm.
And I know that it's not going to be this generation, maybe the next generation or the third generation. We have to back ourselves out of that. But how it starts is from the foundation, giving us the right tools to work with. Everybody is being treated equally. There is some balance. And wherever the chips fall, we know at the end of the day, we have the opportunity, and we got the opportunity to make sure that we uh, treat everybody equally.
You know, in a perfect world, I'd like to think that everyone would be treated equally,
It's not.
and there would be balance, and there would be equality, and I am not really sure that that is a reality. Based on what I'm seeing right now, because we are seeing more and more women dress differently,
Right.
and then they're dressing differently for a number of reasons, and we're
Mhm.
seeing more and more of our brothers falling into the depths of doing things that they should not be doing, on multiple levels, multiple scales, and it seems to be, as we move forward, there's more of a divide, um, between it's not just like black, white, Asian, Hispanic, Indian. It's just not that easy. I get what you're saying.
Mhm.
It's what's happening, and what I'm seeing is there's more of a financial divide.
Oh yeah.
It's more of a people becoming poorer and poorer, and also not only are they becoming financially poor, They're becoming mentally poor, psychologically poor, physically poor, just everything in regards to like a lower class. And I see this dynamic happening right now in recent years. And the other dynamic is another group of people who are becoming wealthier, healthier, access to things that you cannot even imagine. And with that said, we're sort of caught with either you level up or you level down, if there's a such thing as leveling down. And so we have to realize this. So, if you have a woman who's spending a lot of money on the way that she look, maybe she's spending too much money, and you have to have that conversation with her. But if she's single, she could be trying to trap a rich man. And I will admit there are some successful housewives out here on
Yeah.
TV shows
Yeah.
who have attracted some of the wealthiest men out here based on their outer looks.
That is true.
And so you can't tell these sisters that it's not working if they see that it's working for those other women. So if they see that it's working for them, what message is that sending to the younger ladies who don't have access to men like this? Oh, if I look this way.
One of the things that some people, this word has been thrown around, that you have people who are empty suitors. They look good on the outside, but there's nothing deep within. And that's what I'm saying. And what I'm talking about is building up that inside, getting that knowledge, stepping out of that frame and going for what you believe in. I believe this is our time. I believe that some people are being what they call woke, but now we have to step out now and step out by faith and knowing that. And Brother Hank said this before. I am.
Mhm.
I am. And once you start to believe I am, and that foundation is within you, then you are. But if I give a person, or if I take on a negative energy that I am poor, I'm not good enough, I'm not handsome, I'm not this or not, I don't have enough education, then that's going to parlay to my children. How do I parlay that they're good enough? How do I parlay that even if I don't have it, that they believe that they have it? It's all about, we know energy never dies. It's all about energy. So if I parlay that, you know, you're good enough, you're awesome. Blitz, Blitz, you're awesome. You're good enough. You're everything, everything. And so our children now becomes enriched with being everything that they didn't know, and they become not an empty suitor, but rich within. Got the collard greens inside, got the yams inside of them, got the spinach, Popeye the Sailor Man, got everything within them that grows them, that makes them be bountiful.
Mm, yeah, mindset, mentality.
It's all about that.
Yeah, the way you think, your thought process. See, it's like you have to be disciplined
True.
um, on a certain level, and you have to train your brain and your thoughts and your throat chakra to constantly communicate these things to yourself until it's embedded into your
That
lifestyle.
is correct.
I have seen the poorest of the poorest families live in the projects, and their thoughts were this way. And those same families are millionaires.
Right.
I've seen multiple families like this that come from the worst of the worst neighborhoods. And they were able to successfully change that. But I'm talking about almost 1 in 1,000 families that I visited that lived in these neighborhoods in these areas. And when you you're raising your children that way, and you're on that vibration. The challenge is to get all the other vibrations from around your child, from around your family, all those other influences that are not healthy for your family and your child, to sort of isolate your child and separate your child. But yet your child has to go to school around these beings and these individuals with a different mentality, where they come home and their households are different. They may not have a two-parent household, or maybe they do have a two-parent household, but maybe it's so much chaos and so much trauma and so much drama in those households, and those same
Mhm.
children come and express that, and your child is in that class with them because you cannot afford to put your child in a private
That's
school.
correct.
You cannot afford to homeschool your child. And
Mhm.
so this is where the challenge begins, because now you've got to literally brainwash your child
Correct.
into this type of mentality so that they can rise above
Mhm.
all of the bull crap that they're seeing when they go into the
And, and,
environment.
and the thing is that it's not going to happen. I mean, when I realized that is there's no such thing as a um, microwave character or community. It's gonna take time. It's gonna take time to level up. And what we see now, for instance, what we saw, what happened in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and now the 2023 is totally different, totally different. And people are starting to level up and realize, look, I can do this. And they call it the woke community. Yes, we can do it, but it's not a microwave situation where we just do it right away, and it doesn't work that way. It
Mhm.
takes time. It takes time to build a building. It takes time to build the World Trade Center. It takes time. So within that snapshot of time, from A to Z, we'll get there,
Mhm.
right? And when we get on the other side of it, we can look back in history. Because history, no, history is history. But the most important thing that I like is numbers. Numbers never lie. So it took us whatever years to get out of there. But now we're out there. We're out of that. We're out of that compartment. We're no more there. But it's going to take time. So
Mhm.
even though we don't want to live in this point in time where we have to suffer, we have to you know give back certain things. We have to be disciplined. Discipline is a part of giving back to your family
Mhm.
and allowing them to now take that discipline as a something that's real to get there. And it may not be their time to get there, but their children's children will get there.
Longevity,
It's longevity.
investment, long term,
Yeah,
legacy building,
exactly.
empires.
Exactly.
Yes, talking years and years and years.
It's what it is.
Yes, yes. Generations.
Yeah.
Yeah, generations. I agree.
I want to thank you so much for being on Community Cuts. We got the She's good. She's good. She's good. And she's also adorable.
Thank you.
Yes. So thank you so much for coming on Community Cuts. Please tell the viewers your channel and
Yeah. So my channel, if you want to visit me, is Journey, the number two, Bliss, Bills. So my YouTube channel is Journey to Bliss, and you will often see me post informational and motivational videos, and you will often see me on with the brother Hank Risenson, which is the other sister channel, Magnets, Crystals, and Pyramids. And that name alone tell you what we talking about.
love it, love it, love it. I love it. I met both of you. Brother Hank introduced me to you, and it's been a charm. It's been a charm. You got the energy and you got the right mindset. So I'm truly truly honored and happy to be around you. So with that said, Community Cuts viewers, thank you. Please give us a thumbs up and subscribe, and just love us. We love you as well. God bless. Take care.
Peace.